Kicking off through the weekend vibes. Fins talk, we go live. Bobby fans and fish tank Hank. Miami Dolphins, we got your back. Saturday noon is the place to be. Catching Dolphins talking fantasy. From the field to the fan debate. Fins talk today, don't be late. Fins up, we ride until the end. With Bobby and Hank, they're your best friends. Podcast popping every week, no delay. Join the crew, Fins talk today. Live chat and stats so prime. Miami hustle all the time. News and views will pave the way. Dive on in, it's Fins talk today. Top plays and what went wrong. Breaking down each game so strong. Fans united, feel the beat. Fins talk, family can't be beat. Fins up, we ride until the end. With Bobby and Hank, they're your best friends. Podcast popping every week, no delay. Join the crew, Fins talk today. Fins up, we ride until the end. With Bobby.
Go! Woo!
Hello, and welcome everybody to another edition of Fins Talk today on FTSN. I'm Bobby Fins Talk, joined always by the man, the myth, the legend, Fish Tank Hank, and Doll of Doll's Diaries.
Joined
Doll,
always.
how are you?
Good. I'm good. Hanging in there. Finally,
Woo!
there's
Hey.
sunshine. There's no rain, so I am gonna go outside and enjoy that when we're done here.
There you go, Fish Tank.
Awesome.
How are you, sir?
Me? All right. Me? I'm working.
Yes.
Working. You know what I mean? It's work day and
And
Uh-oh.
internet's going away.
I
I don't know if you can hear us. Yeah,
That's possible.
but that's okay. We'll wait for Fish Tank to reconnect. I know he has
that's
some,
the
we all got some
street.
stuff.
That's the end of the
Period.
driveways. That's property marker. I'm confused. How far out do I need to go?
Are you talking to me or the phone? I don't.
Let's see the
Oh!
whole.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know.
You guys want to see it?
I was trying to be. Well, who is that?
I'm doing a broadcast.
I'm sorry.
You guys see that giant hole there?
Yeah.
That's pretty big, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
Funny.
gotta fix.
Oh my. Oh my. So
So you can see I've been not only busy inside, but I've been very busy outside.
understandable. Understandable, Fish Tank. So
Yo,
as-
I'll be right back, folks, because somebody came down here to speak with me and I wasn't aware of it.
I'm not a somebody. I'm the president of the board, and I'm coming down here because we've been aware of this issue for a long time. So I don't know what thing I'm on, but I want you to know that I am here and we are not ignoring this gentleman. He just doesn't quite understand the process and the history of this particular situation. And I'm going to try to work it out with him.
Okay. Now, I didn't say anything to you folks about that. All I said was I got to come out and fix this hole.
Well, I'm
Right?
just telling you.
Okay.
What are you
Hey.
doing?
Let me
Have
make
fun.
sure
Okay.
that I take care of this and then get back to you folks because there's
Okay.
somebody here that wants to talk to me like I had just said before she grabbed my arm and looked at this.
okay.
All
Have
right.
fun. We'll talk
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye. So who thought we were gonna get some entertainment this morning or this afternoon, wherever you're watching from?
She was feisty.
She's feisty.
I don't know what I'm on.
Wow. So
You have
okay,
the history of the whole, like,
my goodness.
what's
President
this
of the
for?
board. So just a preference for those who don't understand. So before we started the show, Hank was a few minutes late, which is cool. I texted him and say, "Hey man, you're good." And he came on. He said, apologize. There's something in his yard. There's a big hole, so he has to figure it out. But we're going to start the show. So that's what's going on over there. We'll wait for Fish Tank to pop back in. But before we do, welcome to the show. I promise we're going to talk some Dolphins. We're with Doll of Doll's Diaries, who's been on chilling out, been just living life. We haven't seen her in a while, so it's like, hey, do you want to pop on? She's like, hell yeah. So she, it's a beautiful day out in what's it, Pennsylvania, Tennessee. So we got plans. So we won't take up the whole time. But Doll, sorry interruption. How are you?
I'm good. Doll Diaries, I promise, will return. Probably closer to the season starting because life outside of this has just been crazy. And my mom's moving. We got to move her at the end of July. We're coming to Florida. Of course, the Panthers won, and I won't be in Florida for 2 more weeks. Like, we couldn't have timed this a little bit better. I tried to come down for the parade, but tickets were jacked. So I did not. So that made me sad, but I will be back eventually.
It was, let me tell you, it's such a moment. My mother got to go on 49th Street with my sisters and, with my brother and hit the pots and pans. I banged the pots and pans out in my backyard. My oldest daughter was pissed because she was sleeping. We woke her up. I'm sure the neighbors were pissed off. Me and Tristan were going crazy. But 2 championships in 2 years in a row. What an awesome experience. And I'm never really about running it back. I'm always like, try to improve your team. And I hope Florida can do that, but I really am run it back. I want everyone back. I want Marchand. I want Ekblad, Bennett. I think Bennett's coming back. It's Ekblad and Marchand that I'm most worried about, but what an awesome run for the Florida Panthers. And we can just pray and hope that eventually Miami will have this type of run. I mean, in our lifetime, we got to see the Heat win 3 championships. The Marlins won 2, and the Panthers now have won 2. Dolphins won 2, but it was way before my time. So can this be the year? Can it be the year? Oh, okay, well, spoiler alert. I mean, come on. So she hasn't been in tune, but she can answer that right away. She's like, no, bro, no, that ain't gonna happen.
I haven't been locked in. I haven't been following the offseason news. And this is partially like the Heat fan in me. Off-season linking to any player, I can't do it because I know. The Heat with KD right now, and the Dolphins with literally any player who's available. No, I just sit back and I like to wait until the 52-man roster is solidified, and then I want to assess based on who we actually have going into the season. Because a lot of these names aren't going to be, with us into the season. A lot can still happen. Hold on, my cat's being an asshole.
You're good. All right.
I don't know if you can hear him knocking shit off my cat.
I do. It's all good. Got a lot of stuff going on here live on.
It's a day. It's a day.
It is.
Okay?
It's all good.
Anyway, I'm back. I'm gonna wait till there's an actual roster to critique.
Fair enough.
And frankly, this is the time the Dolphin fans get bored and infight amongst themselves, and everybody's still beating a dead horse of last season, and it's the rebirth of a Dolphin fan. The spring is the rebirth of a Dolphins fan. We let go of the past. We get super delusional moving forward. We get hurt again, and then we're going to start that cycle all over again. So I'm in my cocoon rebirthing.
There you go. You're ready to do the rebirth as we get closer to the season. Well, you're right. It's true. And I've said that because Hank and I have done, when the schedule got released, we kind of assessed the schedule. We looked at it, 5 primetime games, and the first half looks, sort of like, hey, we could come out of that with the first half being above 500, but the second half looks a little harder. Can't pretend with the primetime games. Miami struggles obviously with those games, but the way I preference that is, hey, here's my very early prediction, but this could change because, hey, what happens with the Dolphins secondary? Who do they sign? What did they get in return for Jalen Ramsey? How does that final roster look? Because maybe it's better. I've heard people say 11 wins. I've heard people say 10. I've heard some people say 13. Hank and I both. Hank said he went up 1, so I will preference that. Last week he was like, "Well, Bobby, I went to 10," so I was like, "Okay." We were at 9 and 8 at our show, and I was like, "That's where I stand on it." But a lot can change from now to then, or now to back to the future. The secondary is huge on that. Before, everyone was talking offensive line. Doll, you were as well. We all knew how important the offensive line was before the draft. You know, the depth, not just the starters. The starters were big, but the depth is a big thing too. And the depth is still an issue with Miami. The starters, I feel a little better about. We're still off on Patrick Paul. We don't know how he'll perform. We hope he does good, but I'm very excited about Jonas Savannah. You know, I told you how excited I was during the draft on him. Aaron Brewer, James Daniels at right guard, and Austin Jackson. That's not, besides Patrick Paul right there. I'm like, I feel pretty confident. And I feel confident in Paul. I like Paul, and I'm wishing him luck. The backups to them is where I'm like, kind of, ugh, you know, because one guy goes down. We're one guy away from Eichenberg, and I'm not trying to crap on him, but it's like, Eichenberg's a bad word right now. You know, that's what it is. You say Eichenberg, it's like, F you too, bro. You know, call someone in Eichenberg and see how you feel. So, but when people were talking about offensive line, I was bringing up the secondary. I was huge into with the first pick. You know, everybody saw offensive line and D tackle and Kenneth Grant. I'm excited about him. Love what I'm hearing, and I love what Miami did beefing up the D line and whatever. But I was about that secondary even before thinking of trading Jalen Ramsey, and I was like, Jahdae Barron, that's my dude. Now it didn't happen, and I'm okay. I'm living with that. I'm not someone who hangs on to shit. Let's move on. But now we can trade Jalen Ramsey. You know, we know that's happening. With the latest reports is that, you know, the Rams, the Chargers are teams. He wants to go to the West Coast. He started following a lot of Pittsburgh players. So does that happen? Right? I know.
I mean,
yeah, I know. But there's the West Coast. So we know eventually he will get traded. We don't know what's going to happen with Janu, but we know Jalen will. It's what happens after he gets traded. Even before he got traded, I was like, we need more help in the secondary. Here's our secondary right now. Let's say without Jalen Ramsey. Storm Duck, Cam Smith, Ethan Bonner, Ethan Robinson, Isaiah Johnson, Jason Marshall Jr., who we drafted out of Florida, Ryan Cooper, Kader Kohu, Artie Barnes, John Saunders, and Kendall Shorefield. And that doesn't go obviously with the safeties, which we know Ashton Davis and Melifonwu, who we just got to hope they stay healthy. I do like Dante Trader Jr., you know, who we drafted this year. But just the corners alone, you hear those names. What's your confidence level in our secondary going into next season?
My first question is who, for probably 3/4 of those names. I've said this before. I haven't liked the Dolphins secondary. This is probably the 3rd season now. I've been screaming since we lost X.
Yeah.
Even when X went down, what was that, like 2023 when we had Fangio? He went down and we had nobody. I mean, they had Eli Apple. Like, we didn't have depth back there for years, and it's kind of been an ignored position, I feel like, for a while now. Now suddenly, Jalen Ramsey kind of last year did the best he could to like save what he could, but Kader Kohu just gets embarrassed game in and game out. I mean, like, he maybe has like 1 or 2 good games, or not even good games. I would say like 1 or 2 good saves a season. And Ethan Bonner, I had high hopes. He's coming off an injury. Will he be injury prone? I don't know. Cam Smith, I defended him as much as I could. The rookie that we just drafted, he could come out and be hungry and be a dog. I don't know enough. But my confidence level, especially without Jalen Ramsey back there, the veteran presence, and he kind of guided, I think, a lot of people when there was miscommunication back there, and he kind of saved some plays that have fallen down. I'd be shocked. I would be shocked if we can stop anything. I mean, I can't embrace the youth movement. We're in a rebuild. And I know Dolphin fans attack me and want to say this. We are entering another rebuild season. This is not we're just getting all these young guys. We're rebuilding the entire roster again. It's a rebuild. We're entering a rebuild.
So let me ask you, because I understand what Daniel's saying, and you just, it's kind of like you're adding to that, because it's like, hey, we're in a rebuild. It's this, let's just, you're not, let's say on the season, right? I know you haven't really had a chance to dive into it, but your confidence level is not very high on what Miami's going to do next season. Is that fair to say?
In the secondary, I have faith in our D line.
Yes.
Especially if Phillips comes back, we have Chubb back. Chop is going into a second season. He did nothing but trend upwards last
He
year.
did.
We, got Kenneth Grant. We beefed up that. So I do still think you're going to see pressures. I'm hopeful you're going to see sacks. We still got Steeler. I do think that front is going to get you the pressure. It's just going to be that if they can get the ball out, if they're not successful, and you're going against some top receivers in the league, we all know that Kader Kohu cannot cover a receiver, cannot run with them, will not be there, will get embarrassed every time. Cam Smith seems to pull a muscle every game. Looks lost. Ethan Bonner, I've yet to see flashes. I don't really know who in our backfield can keep up with, Stephon Diggs, George Pickens, any of the top guys, Justin Jefferson, those caliber of players. I don't see any names that I would be like, yeah, he's going to go up there and win that match. He can keep up with the speed. So I think it depends. I mean, if we can get pressure and sacks, but then are our guys up front going to get gassed?
Fair. And what I was going to say, and I think, no, and right to your point, that's where, the secondary is like it says in the title, scary for all the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think will assist the negative, the secondary, the weakness of the secondary for Miami's defense is that front seven. I feel real confident about our D line, and I think that's going to help the secondary. It could help those young guys. I will say, where I understand Daniel's point, I will embrace the youth movement because we know we're going to see a lot of these young guys, because I'm not like, I'm not expecting. And again, I'm going to cheer them on to win every game, and we're going to go crazy, and we're going to love it. And when we lose, we're going to scream because we want us to win no matter what. But my expectations is I'm not going to go, oh, Super Bowl, baby, we're going to Super Bowl. Yeah. Super Bowl. But no, stop. Look, let's stick in the reality of what our roster is right now. Do we have pieces that could help us win games? Absolutely. Whether you like them or not, we still have the Tyreeks and the Jalen and the Tuas and our offense, right? We don't know what's happening with Janu Smith. Offensive line, they put some work in. D-line looks really good. Linebackers aren't so bad. Secondary, scary. Again, though, if expectations are not high, and I'm like, hey, 9-8, hey, 7, whatever that may be, okay, I'm already expecting that. It is what it is. I'm looking forward to see what Jason Marshall could possibly do. I'm looking forward to seeing what Jonas 7A and Patrick Paul could do. Ollie Gordon, you know how much I'm in on Ollie Gordon. When we drafted, I was like, let's roll. Don't get me wrong, Damian Martinez would have been fine. I would have been happy with Damian, but I was banging the table for Ollie Gordon. I'm excited to see him. Now, the quarterback situation, I feel better about the quarterback room this year than I did last year, because if and when Tua goes down, right, we're going to see Zach Wilson. We know what he did with the Jets. We know what he did in Denver. Okay, former first-round pick. Does he somehow find it and become what he was supposed to be? We don't know. We know what history tells us, so there's no high expectation there. But then we talk about Quinn Ewers, 7th-round pick. We know he's a 7th-round pick. We're not forced to keep him or whatever after this year. But if Tua goes down and Zach craps the bed and Quinn comes in, what does it hurt to see what he can possibly do? Because when he came out from high school to college, he was the number 1 quarterback. A couple years back, he was projected to be a first-round pick, maybe the number 1 overall pick. He stayed in college. It hurt him. He fell into the 7th round. Shador went to the 5th round. So it was a weird year for quarterbacks, but we got him in the 7th round. That's a great situation for Miami because you get to see what you have. And if he doesn't work out, if he does come in, then okay, hey, Tua can't stay healthy or struggled, whatever. Zach Wilson was what he was, and Quinn Ewers wasn't the guy. We have our 3rd string, 2nd string quarterback. Let's go get our guy. It's like it's a weird thing to say, but to me, it's like a win-win. It's if Miami does great. If they lose, hey, put those younger guys. Let's see what we have in these. So I understand embracing the youth movement and kind of let's just move forward with that. Janu Smith, I don't think you and I have talked about that at all. But we know it's on your neck of the woods that he could possibly trade it to Pittsburgh. That was when you heard that news, because we were like, okay, Jalen Ramsey. But you look at offense, you're like, Tyreek Hill, what's it happen with Tyreek? Well, at least we have Janu and Jalen and whatever. It's in Devon Achen. And so, but then you hear, oh, well, Miami doesn't want to pay Janu. So now they're going to try to trade him. When you heard that, what was your reaction to that?
Of course. If you haven't noticed, Pittsburgh gets a lot of old Dolphin players. Like
Yeah.
a lot of our guys, and I just know this from my life. Look at Deshaun Elliott, look at Minka Fitzpatrick. The Steelers pick up a lot of our guys, and so usually they end up doing better in Pittsburgh. But I don't think that Jonnu can do like better per se. I think he had a fantastic season with us. I'll be sad to see him go. I think that he was almost becoming like a little bit of a crutch for us. I mean, he was a great kind of what we've all been banging our drum of a great stay in the middle, tall, big guy. And if Tua's in trouble, he's there to catch the ball, to get those short yardage plays. Like, when Tyreek's covered, Waddle's covered, like we've been banging the drum for a big body in the middle of the field just to save Tua and, when there's pressure coming. So it's going to be hurtful, I think, if he's gone. But Chris Greer not wanting to pay a player who performs well for us and letting him go to other places is kind of his calling card. So Chris Greer is going to do what Chris Greer does until somebody holds Chris Greer accountable.
Yeah, and for me, I was with you. I'm with you on that. Where it's like kind of like, of course, this would happen, especially with a player who is a role model citizen on and off the field. He did his job next to Devon Achane. No matter what anybody says, a mid-tier quarterback. All love, guys. But we're talking about Devon Achane. Next to Devon Achane, Jonnu was the most consistent contributing offensive player. Not your highest player in Tyreek and Tua and Jalen. None of no all respect to those guys. They weren't. Jonnu and Devon Achane were. So I knew where we were coming up on that time frame where, hey, I got a year left. Let's do this extension. But and to me, is if Miami knew, if Chris Greer figured, because it's not rocket, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a GM to realize this conversation is going to come up. Yeah. If you knew that Jonnu Smith was going to come and say, hey, you know how much he loves it here, how much he's been a team leader or whatever, I want an extension. I want to work on a deal. If you knew you weren't going to do that, why not draft a tight end? Why not go out and go get another guy? So that way, if that conversation does come up and you're not going to pay him and you're going to say, okay, we got to trade him before the season, you can move him. And it's not a lot because, again, it's the same thing as the secondary. You trade Jonnu, you're talking about Julian Hill, Pharaoh Brown. There's the rookie, Jalen Conyers, I believe. I'm probably butchering that. And that's, again, like you said about Jason Marshall. We know how high Miami players are on Julian Hill, right? They always talk very highly of him, practice or whatever. But again, you got to go based off what you've seen. And what we've seen is nothing to go, oh my God, I have full confidence in what he can do. If you trade Jonnu, then you're looking at those guys, and then it's like you're kind of taking away one of your most consistent piece on offense. Because can you trust Tyreek? Can you trust Jalen Waddle?
Yes. Waddle, not Tyreek. I trust Waddle.
Trust Waddle. And again, we don't know. Maybe Julian Hill all of a sudden shocks the world. Maybe Julian Hill becomes what people are saying he could be. Maybe Pharaoh Brown. Maybe
what I can trust Julian Hill to do is to give us an unnecessary penalty and then whiff on a block.
Fair enough. Fair. And again, you can only go based off what you've seen. All right. Let's get Fish Tank back here. Fish Tank is popping back in. Again, watching Fins Talk today on FTSN. Let's get Fish Tank. Hopefully everything's taken care of. And there he is. What's up, my man?
Wow. Did you see what I'm dealing with, folks?
We saw it.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Giant hole in front of my house when I arrive here, right? Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's part of the street. And so I asked the one of the board members here, is that part of the street, that big giant hole? Yep. I said, okay, we need to get that fixed before somebody trips and I get sued. So then they wait 3 weeks to tell me it's my responsibility that it's part of my driveway. So that woman that was out there, I was pointing out the property markers, and she wasn't understand. She's the president of the board, like she said.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's what I was doing, and I pointed it out to her until the fact that she relented because she had no other choice, that's part of the street.
Oh,
Okay,
there
we
you go.
should have done this a long time ago, folks. Done.
There you go.
And that's a win.
This whole place is torn up like butt. Like big stinky butt. This I'm working in the middle of a jungle here, and then they want me to fix what they screwed up. No.
So
So what do we have going on?
So we're talking. Well, we're right. We were talking, catching up on Julian Hill, but what we were talking about at the start, the main topic, and you could catch up on if you're good to go, was the secondary, because the title to today's show was Miami secondary is scary for all the wrong reasons. We
Oh,
know that Jalen Ramsey, even though he hasn't been moved yet, he wants to go to the West Coast. The Pittsburgh Steelers seem to be a wild card team. He started following some Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to ask you, Fish Tank, with our secondary, where's your confidence level once we trade Jalen Ramsey? And I went over who we got there: Jason Marshall, Cater Kohu, those Ethan Bonner, Cam Smith, who can't seem to, first it was Vic Fangio's fault, and then last year he wasn't around. So where's your confidence level on Miami secondary going into next season?
okay. This is simple, man. This is simple. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, Bobby, but I'm going to say it. It's in the shitter. That's it, Bobby. I mean, anybody who has half a brain knows we're in trouble. With that secondary, whoo, wow. I'm really hoping that these additions on the defensive line have a huge impact to offset that.
We said the same thing.
Other than that, I really don't know how we're going to defend the pass other than beating up the quarterback. I just don't think we have the personnel we currently need. Now, however, we usually pick people up here and there and stuff like that, and we do the fill gap, and usually it doesn't work. So I'm hoping that some of these youngsters we have adapted better than we're all seeing to the current situation that they have to deal with. Are they good enough to make it happen? We all say no. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see good things.
No, and Steve Malloy in the house, Dolphins Realtor in the house as well. Great to see you guys. Daniel says, no one loves a rebuild, but it's necessary. I think after this season, they had a come to Jesus moment and realize they can't compete with elite teams. I'm okay with it. He says, embrace the youth movement. Steve says, secondary is worst in the league, at least on paper, and that's the thing. Again, Hank, you said it. Dahl started it. That what you could, I guess, hope for is that Dolphins front seven makes up for the weakness in the secondary. And that could be the case where you pressure the quarterbacks, they make an errant throw, and one of our young guys back there or the other guys make a play, and all of a sudden we're like, holy crap, that Ethan Bonner is really a dude.
Where did he come from?
Cam Smith all of a sudden, holy crap.
But you know what we all do? Woohoo! Get him!
Let me ask you, Hank, because Daniel brings it up. We talked about the record, and I brought that up with Dahl. Was it's way too early to predict the record, but you and I did it, and we started off with 9-8, and last week you said, hey, it actually gone up a point. I'm saying 10 wins, but our expectations are kind of like let's just be where we are. I don't have high expectations. I'm going to root on every win. We're going to get pissed when we lose. It is what it is. But are you ready? Win, lose, or draw, ready to embrace the youth movement? What's up, Cam?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Bring these young guys in here. What team do you know that can survive without their young players? Got to have these folks in the house. Young, youth, It comes with a little bit of inexperience. However, when we go all through the college and we all get people, the first thing that we're doing is looking at the best of the best to become NFL players. That's the start for these young players. So we know um, from what we've seen in the past, drafts, players, all this stuff, only about maybe a quarter of them stay around, right? I don't know what the exact numbers are, but there's not a lot of new players that stay around a long period of time. They're either in or they're out. It's one or the other. And the majority of them, even the ones that are picked in the first and second round, go. So, you know, do we need youth? Yeah, we do, because we got a lot of holes. So I welcome it,
We,
especially now that we've worked on the trenches the a little bit. I'm not saying it's solid, but we have at least done it a little bit, you know? And that's going to give our offense, along with some of the players we picked up, the ability to move the ball like we haven't before. And that's key to our quarterback that likes to throw 20-yard passes accurately and catch people on the run, because they're not going to all be flooding in because they know they're going to get past our guards like it's a danger cone or something, and everybody just runs around it. I don't know what that is, but Eichenberg, of course. So, I really, really think, and that's why I raised my number one, is because I looked at what they did do a little more, and I don't know. Even if we get rid of Tyreek Hill, I think this offense is going to be better.
mm. And let me just say, for keyword for today, because Hank said it a few times. Keyword today, kind of like when you think of Pee Wee Herman, is holes. Holes is the keyword. So when you hear holes, I want everybody to go ah. So it's like, whether it's holes on the Dolphins or holes in the driveway, there's holes all over the place here on Fitz Talk today. Cam Jordan, thank you for watching. He says, I think we have some dogs in the secondary. We don't have big names, but they're young and scrappy. Plenty of free agents still out there. Fair enough. And that's one thing we could say, like, right on paper, it makes us go, oh, but you don't know what could happen. Jason Marshall could end up being a steal. He could be the next X Howard, and Dahl's going crazy and we're loving it. And that could happen. We don't know. All we could go based off is on paper right now, especially with the young secondary. Dolphins Realtor says, as somebody who is very annoyed that Finns can't get past the injury bug to prove Steve wrong, if the Finns stay healthy, Steve will love again. Good. Scotty, what's up? Josh, what's up, brother? Josh Wingate in the house.
That's the thing about Steve, though. Steve is a huge Dolphins supporter.
Big time.
And, he gets emotional. And that shows his true fandism, because he really wants these guys to do very well. He just is getting tired of the inadequacies achieved by our team and personnel. I don't blame him.
Am
So
I the only one? Youth movement's great. Obviously, everybody started as a rookie. Tariq, Justin, they all came
Sure.
to the league as a rookie. Am I the only one concerned about the heavy youth movement that we have on our team and the horrific culture? Or not?
I was just going to ask you. I was just going to bring up culture to you.
We have all these rookies. We don't have a great veteran presence. I mean, Tyreek sure as hell do not hang out with him outside of the stadium because someone gets pregnant. Apparently, the strip clubs, like the Miami Beach, like we have historically a terribly disciplined team. And then you want to say, okay, let's get rid of and not have any of our focused, solid vets to lead these guys. And now let's throw all these young 20-year-olds that now suddenly have money and Miami Beach. And you guys want to sit here and now, not all of them. I'm not saying that they're all going to be unfocused, but you are dangling probably one of the most tempting carrots in the National Football League, location-wise, on all these young guys. Mike McDaniel, I do not think has control of the locker room. I don't think that they respect him like they would have respected Belichick, like they respect, what's his name in Pittsburgh?
Tomlin.
They have respect and control over their locker rooms. I think McDaniel wants to be everybody's buddy. I don't think that he has the same iron fist in there. And I don't think that there's really anybody in there holding anybody accountable. And they can say whatever they want in these press conferences. You're still running most of the same team back. So that's my biggest fear.
Well, let me ask you, because I know you've been busy, and one of the main kind of messages being thrown out there from Miami, from the Dolphins, from Mike McDaniel, and who just said that? Bradley Chubb said that last year. We were talking about culture change, and he said we were lying. There was no culture change this year. To say no, now it's reality. And Mike McDaniel saying there's going to be a culture change here, and of course, Realtor brings up that point. He thinks it's a retool and reculture. This season will surprise us. Awesome. I hope that's the case. But let me ask you, though, because we haven't chatted. Yeah. You just brought up culture. Do you think Miami right now, with what we have, they've been used to the last 2 years with McDaniel. He's been the friend, the buddy, whatever. Do you think that he could change that and change the culture in Miami with the current roster as is, with what they have?
No, I think that the Miami Dolphins social media team gives them key words to say in these press. That's why I don't listen to the press conferences, because they throw a bunch of bullshit at you. You're more worried about the offensive line than we are. They throw the words. They see what the fans are saying. They see what the league is saying. So they're going to sit there on their little podium, and they're going to throw whatever words that they want at you. They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. But this is who Mike McDaniel is. This is his coaching style. This is how he wants to be. He is a player's coach. That is how he has aligned himself. That is how he is. That is his personality. He wants to be quirky and all of that. Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill. I don't think anybody could sit Tyreek Hill down in a room and say, we're going to change the culture here, and you have to. Ain't nobody controlling Tyreek Hill but Tyreek Hill.
Fair.
And even then, I don't know that he controls himself very well either. But I think they tell you what they want to hear. They want to appease you. They have a social media department for this reason. They are, prepped before these meetings for a reason. And I think that what you see is what you have on this team. This is the culture. If you want a culture reset on the Miami Dolphins, you need to get rid of Chris Grier and get rid of Mike McDaniel and bring in a new culture. I don't think that anybody could sit them down and say change everything about every way that you have coached, change your entire coaching style. And I don't think Mike McDaniel is going to sit there and change his entire personality. This is what it is. And sure, maybe some of the vets and some of the guys we got to be more focused internally, but will that last? Will it be the whole team? I don't think so.
Everyone in the comments, first off, thank you everybody who's joining us right now and enjoying the show and commenting. And I mean, I'm enjoying the comments. I know I saw Hank's face light up too when we said strip clubs. Hey, Jonathan says Hank knows all about Tootsies. But I will say, for me, I know it is going to be very hard to change the culture in Miami. The only way you could do that is if McDaniel was to go to veterans he could trust, right? I think it's not going to happen because of the cap thing. You're going to trade Jalen and whatever, and Tyreek's probably going to end up staying here. But you can't go to, Tyreek after, especially what happened last year, and say, hey man, I need you to help me lead this locker room. I need you to, be here 10 minutes before the meeting and all this. No, the only way McDaniel I think could do that was if Tyreek was moved, possibly go to people like Tua, and if Armstead was there, but he's not, Curtis Campbell, those guys would have been perfect. But going to those, Jalen Waddle, Tua, some of these veteran guys that are still Zach Sealer, and say, hey, I need you guys to help me. I need you to be on your groups, help you get them here on time. Let's go to, get there early, get the better, whatever, kind of lead by example. You don't have that right now. So I find it hard to believe that you're going to have to change that. And I think and forgive me, I'm forgetting who said this in the comments. It's going to come down to how much the players love and want to play for McDaniel. how do they respond to last year and all the noise? All the players and the Dolphins know what's being said out there. They know what's the idea of how they look like. If these players really care for McDaniel and want McDaniel to succeed and whatever the hell, and Miami to succeed, they're going to have to come out and play their asses off. So that way the narrative changes. Because I'm sorry, again, going off history alone, culture is not going to change unless you decide, Stephen Ross one day wakes up and goes, no, dude, we're going to have to let go of McDaniel. We're going to have to go find some hard ass out there. Obviously Flores didn't work out. So we're going to have to find someone not as hard as Flores, but maybe harder than McDaniel. And, it's what it's going to be. That's not going to happen anytime soon. So it really just depends on how Dolphin players are going to really want to fight for Coach McDaniel. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to get sold off. I know every doing maybe 5 games in, Miami's going to be 4-1 or whatever the hell. We go, oh, they did it. No, let the season play out. Then we'll know.
Yeah. So I guess you want to hear my comment now, right?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, here we go. I don't think, like Dahl said, I don't think Mike McDaniel is going to change. No, he's not. But he has changed responsibility. He has pushed the responsibility onto his players now to police one another. That's Tua, that's Jalen Waddle, that's Devon Achane, that's Bradley Chubb, that's Jalen Phillips, that's Zach Sealer, that's Jordan Brooks, that's Dodson. It's also the brand new players that we have brought in with the right mindset. They are immediate leaders to the young group that they're with by their talents and the way they have that drive both on offense and defense. And that's a lot for the other players around them to see, especially when they're coming in as rookies and they can make a huge push, either one of them, for a starting position. So I think the players need to police themselves, and I don't think that anybody in that locker room, like I said last show, likes being called soft. They're all alpha males. They don't want to put up with that crap. They don't want people, thinking that about them. So are they going to respond? I don't think they're going to respond as much to McDaniel as they're going to respond to the responsibility and the relationships that they have within the locker room. That's what's going to make this happen. Now, if people like Tyreek Hill need to be pushed out of the way and told to shut up, I have a funny feeling people are going to start doing that because they're going to get tired of his antics. That's it, Bobby.
There you go. And Dolphins Richard, and as we bring it, let me just say very quick, Jonathan says another important thing to have is depth. A good starting caliber talent at those depth spots. Panthers are a good example. A good bench.
Yeah.
Florida
We're
Panthers
horrible in our depth.
Yeah, Florida Panthers had the deepest team in history. They did 2 years in a row, baby. Champion, Stanley Cup. Love it. Excited about it. We see Canes were up there, guys. If you're Panthers fans like Dahl and myself, maybe Fish Tank now. You got to go to Canesware if you want some good Panthers championship gear. He's killing it over there. And they got some, if you're in the Davie floor, the Davie area, they got the Panthers they're gonna some autograph signings at the shop come this next week. So go check it out.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Because, I'm that kind of guy and all.
Yeah.
Why don't you, when we're done with this, send me an email or something, contact me somehow, and give me a direct number to who I need to speak with at Canesware.
Okay.
And I'll go there for our next broadcast.
Oh, there you go. All right. There you go. Shoot it live.
What do you think?
Sure. Yeah, go down to
Let's support Canesware. Let's do it.
Well, again, they didn't do a show. They're on the channel. They're on FTSN. They got the Canesware podcast and they kill it. But of course, when you win a championship and you're busy, they're going crazy down there. The store is on fire. They got autograph signings going on right now. So it's a great time to be And thank God for the Panthers, right? As Dolphin fans, if you're
that somebody had to bail us out. All right,
I appreciate it. You know what I mean? You know, what's up, Marissa? Marissa's in the house watching. Shout out to Marissa. Great to see her there.
She's gonna have to come back on Dallas Diaries when I decide to reinstate.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And she's getting back into it. So it's great to see Marissa back into the Dolphins verse on Twitter and slowly start integrating back into it. It's a better Dolphins fandom universe when people like Marissa and Doll and others get back into it. You know, it starts to get, it's like, man, it's a little quiet in here, you know, so it's very cool to see everyone pop it back in. Jonathan says, I think having Quinn Ewers in our backup position is a blessing, a good depth. If you have Tua, it's if you like Tua or not, you got to have a solid quarterback behind Tua. I agree, Jonathan. We just brought that up. Me and Doll were talking about it for me because I feel better about this QB room than I did last year. Just because, you know, again, anything was better than last year. But Zach Wilson, we know what he did with the Jets. We know, you know, he did a little better. They liked him in Denver. I know that from hearing and reading what they were saying about him. But who knows? Maybe somehow, some way, winning if Tua gets hurt, Zach Wilson comes in. Does he live up to that first round pick? I don't know. But history says no. But we'll see. But Quinn Ewers, we don't know, right? We know he's a 7th round pick. But when he came out of high school, he was the first quarterback ranked. Could have been a first round pick a couple years back, decided to go back to college. It hurt him, right? Shador was the 5th round pick. Quinn went in the 7th round. If and when Quinn comes in and the season's lost, you go, okay, let's see what if he lights it up? What if all of a sudden with Tyreek and Jalen and whatever, and we were like, holy crap, this guy is the guy we saw in Texas. And then guess what? Now, if you can just move forward with your 7th round quarterback, I know, I'm just saying, dog, I saw what you're doing.
Like, I want whatever drugs you're on. That's all.
Okay. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Nice.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it
keep
could
dreaming
happen.
And do a broadcast at the same time.
I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it could. It could.
Where are you getting this from?
Oh,
Bobby,
come on.
Gonna make me vomit and swallow it.
I'm not doing the hopium. Don't get on me.
Are you snorting hopium? Like Quinn Ewers, the 7th round pick, is going to come and save us. He's our Lord
saying
and
it could happen.
God. And then you're like, I feel confident I have Zach Wilson.
You know what? I want all of you. If it happens, you're all going to come here. Like, you all better give me I'm just saying it could. I'm not saying it will. I'm saying that mine is in a good situation.
I've never heard a person say, I feel so confident that Zach Wilson is in my quarterback room in my life. And then here you are. I don't think the Jets thought that we were starting quarterback.
That was the Jets. You really trust any quarterback with the Jets? Look what Sam Darnold did without the Jets.
No, but what Jets quarterback has played for the Jets and then turned around and lit it up and had a fantastic career? The Jets are like a stain in your body.
Sam Darnold. I mean, he had a good career. It's still going, but look what he did.
It's like a stain.
Sam Darnold. I'm with you. Jets suck. Diarrhea green. I hate the Jets. I have everything that I hate. I hate that Mason Taylor is on the Jets, but life is life. You know what I'm saying? Sam Darnold showed that you can. I'm not saying that's what Zach. I'm just going to say it's better than what we had. It's better than Skylar Thompson. He's with Pittsburgh now. I know you have to like him.
I don't hate Skylar Thompson. I'm on the outcast here. I don't hate Skylar Thompson. I think the Dolphins training staff failing to develop him did him more dirty than
coaching
he
staff
did himself dirty.
Hank Swallows. God. What is the
you know what, Bobby? Bobby.
Yes.
I hate to say this to you. Well, no, I really love it.
Don't.
But anyway, pretty much, Doll just gave you a huge dose of reality.
Did she?
Steve Malloy would be so proud of me.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. Look, yeah, right there. There you go. Yeah. I'm saying we don't know. We don't know about Quinn Ewers. But what if he comes in? What if he comes in and does something? That's the thing. That's where I'm saying that is hopium, right? Like, hey, you know what?
Scratch the lottery ticket and win $1 million next week.
Could happen. There's a 1 in a billion chance, but it could happen, right? That's what I'm saying.
Which odds are better?
Man.
You got a lot of calculating to do, Bobby.
I'm looking. Me being accused of hopium. I mean, it's all right. I'll take it.
I'm never bringing Doll on again. She can just go
No.
to Diary Land.
Doll's Diaries has been canceled on FTSN before it even has restarted. No, I'm just playing. No, but we are looking forward to that. You said closer to the season we should expect Doll's Diaries to be back, possibly.
I would say like August, July. My mom's moving,
Yeah.
selling their family house, so we got a lot to get her to that point. And then once August hits, I should be good.
So, guys, if you want to, see more of Doll, check her out on Doll's Diaries. Of course, you see her on FTSN. I'm trying to get her on. I know how busy she's been. So I'm happy she was able to join us today. She's, obviously going to go enjoy the pool, but you can catch her on FTSN Extra. I'm excited to see Doll's Diaries and get her going again. And, of course, you see Fish Tank every Saturday on Finn's Talk Today, fixing holes and talking about holes and everything
Yelling
else.
at poor ladies in the middle of the
Old
street.
ladies out in the street.
Holy crap. And she just tore into me, didn't she?
I was like, oh, welcome to the show. I don't know what show this is, but I'm the president. And like, oh, okay. Salute. God,
Yeah,
man.
I feel like, did she have like a badge? I feel like she probably makes cards.
Bobby, let me point a couple things out before I address that situation. You said, if I want to see more of Doll, that you can make it happen, right?
Sure. I mean,
right.
well, she makes it happen.
Doll, you're going to have to back up first before you start taking things off. Just so we're clear, because I need to see more of you. So you got to back up if that's going to happen.
I think I've lost the plot of this.
I thought it was more on the show.
No, it was all about Doll backing up and getting naked so we could all see more of her. It was a joke. Horrible joke.
5 minutes, let me set up the stripper pole.
Horrible joke.
Where's
Holy
Karen?
crap.
Where's that Karen?
That lady took all the fun out of me.
I'm going to say,
out loud.
where's the Karen there?
I'm listening, and the next minute he's like, I'd love to see more of Doll. I'm like, oh, he's going to invite me on more. And he's like, get naked!
Hank,
hey, I'm old. That's all we think about, all right?
My goodness gracious. My goodness. Geez, Alou. I was like, where did that go? But, we were talking about the Karen out front and we went there. So anyway.
I'm just glad that I looked at Bobby and we had the same look.
We both went.
You both were like, what the hell are you talking
what
about?
Are you drinking, Fish Tank? I know you don't drink, but damn, dude.
And then I was like, uh-oh, real bad joke.
Reverse, hit reverse. I was just kidding. Oh, God. Too much fun. But anyway, obviously.
As we digress
all the way over there. I told you Hank enjoyed Tootsies. Oh my. Hank is drunk. Uh-oh. It was like drunk with power. He just laid the smack down. But anyway, back it up, Hank. Put it in reverse, Hank. I think everybody went, what? Okay. It's all good. We're a family here. We have fun. Anywho, before we wrap it up,
yes.
Doll, any final thoughts?
Me?
Yes.
Oh,
I know. You're Yeah,
I know. I kind of look like a doll and all that, but not so much.
I'm cautiously unoptimistic going into the season. I don't expect much. I would love to be pleasantly surprised, but I think that I just have to see it to believe it. I'll lock in probably around, once we get the 52-man roster set. And I'm just enjoying the Panthers win. I've never seen championship celebration go so hard in my life. First of all, I don't even know how they're functioning. I have two margaritas and I put myself to bed. These guys are like we're on day like 5. So I'm gonna enjoy that. And I really hope that we get the culture shift, but I'm telling you all, you can mark my words, firings will happen at the end of the season. I don't think anyone's job is safe. I don't think it should be safe.
Fair.
I do think there will be improvements, but I also think that there's a couple of positions that are worse than last year. So it may just even itself out again from last season, despite, what Chris Greer has been doing. We'll have to see. Either way, every Sunday, I'm going to be rooting for the Dolphins and hoping that they win. And then when they don't, you'll see me live tweeting whatever comes first thought to my mind. I don't filter myself. So, prepare yourselves for that one. We'll have to see, though.
There you go. Fish tank.
Dahl has a lot of words that are very decisive and pointed toward the fact that people are going to get fired. Now, for me, I think she's right. If this season in any way does not equal and produce what we all expect it should, I don't think Stephen Ross is going to wait anymore. I really don't. However, obviously, if the unimaginable, I guess we could call it, and the Dolphins get deep into the playoffs, they won't. And, I'm really hoping that the players themselves take pride and get out there and get angry and mean. That's what they've missed sometimes, is that mean and angry identity within themselves. To get mad. What the hell do you think? You're going to knock them down? All right, the both of us will knock you down next time. That kind of thought process, That's what I want in our team. That's what everybody wants. That's what the team wants. Can McDaniel do it? I want an offensive coordinator. That's what I want. I want us to have an offensive coordinator. That, I think, would solve a lot of problems, folks. So many problems, it's not even funny. But I don't think that's going to happen. So that's where I'm at, Bobby. And I want to, of course, thank Dahl for being here and setting me straight with my crappy jokes.
Anytime, Hank. Anytime.
No, yeah. Thanks to Dahl for being on and be a tag team partner for me while Hank was dealing with whatever he was dealing with. So we started the show off and we were going on, and Hank was able to join us. And so, thank everybody who's been in the comments here and putting their thoughts in there and having a good time. We appreciate you all watching. Make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button. I'm not done for today. As usually not on Saturdays. I'll be back here at 5 p.m. Eastern time for No Holds Barred Wrestling. So if you love wrestling and you're wrestling, you like growing up wrestling, we're talking on Hogan today. Hulk Hogan. It's called the Hogan Files because Hogan is big on telling some stories. It's kind of like, I don't know if that's true. So he's famous for that. I grew up a Hogan fan, but I'm going to have some fun with that because I know Josh is going to get on me. So if you want to do some Hogan Files, you want to catch up on some Hogan fabricated stories and have fun with that, come back at 5 p.m. here in FTSN. You catch Steve Malloy on Real Talk Fins Talk on Tuesdays. And now on Sundays, catch him on Aging and Strong on FTSN Extra. So if you want to, get in shape or get some tips on health and fitness, check out Steve on FTSN Extra with Aging and Strong. Again, you've got a great crew here at FTSN. Of course, the Canes were a podcast. Of course, they've been very busy because they got the store down in Davie, Florida, and its Panthers have won 2 years in a row. Champions, the best team in hockey, probably with the best GM in sports with Bill Zito, and Paul Maurice is one of the best coaches, maybe the best coach in South Florida, but two-time champ. So shout out to them. They'll be back hopefully on Wednesday night, but I'm not worried about that because I know how busy they are. But until then, guys, do me a favor, like and subscribe. And most importantly, Dolphin fans, as always, fins up.